With a 2 out of 5 rating on TripAdvisor and a majority of terrible reviews, Cyprus Airways doesn't exactly enjoy the best reputation. But are these poor ratings really justified? In this video I will find out exactly that. As part of my series How Bad Is This Airline Really?, where I review airlines with bad ratings, today I'm going to try out the flag carrier of the Republic of Cyprus. Commenced operations as recently as 2017 with a fleet of only 5 aircrafts, Cyprus Airways is a relatively young and small airline. However, that doesn't mean that they don't pursue great ambitions. Since the name rights of Cyprus' former national carrier have been acquired by Russia's S7 airline and Cypriot investors in 2016, the goals for Cyprus Airways skyrocketed. The ultimate aim is nothing less than to establish Cyprus Airways as a prestigious boutique airline in no time at all and to conquer the European and Middle Eastern aviation market with numerous unique routes. Today's journey starts at the Cyprus Airways hub and the country's busiest airport, Larnaca International. After our taxi driver nearly killed us by almost falling asleep, we arrive safely at Terminal 1, which is the only terminal by the way. From here, Cyprus Airways is going to take us to the frozen hillbilly highlands they call Switzerland. For this 4-hour flight, we only paid about €160 for 2 persons. This is because one of Cyprus Airways' strategies is to sell extremely cheap flights during the low seasons. By doing so, they hope to gain passenger numbers and thus quickly establish themselves. However, this strategy didn't really seem to work today, as there was a maximum of 20 or 30 passengers on our flight. This was probably also the reason why check-in only opened about 45 minutes later than indicated. I can't really blame the elderly gentleman at the counter for being quite grumpy, as it was 4:30 in the morning and there was no coffee to be found in the entire terminal. However, as a revenge for being a bit rude, I'm going to call him elderly in this video. On a positive note, unlike most other European airlines, Cyprus Airways includes a hand baggage allowance of up to 10 kilograms. Check-in luggage on the other hand is only included in the flex fare and in business class, but can be purchased for a fee in the basic fare. Due to the not so high passenger volume of about 2 other passengers, we clear security and passport control in less than 5 minutes and head for a quick breakfast at the Larnaca Aphrodite Lounge, which unfortunately just closed permanently on January 25, 2024. As we head down to the gate, I get the impression that it's freezing cold due to the outside air coming in from the open door. However, that apparently was not true. Even in winter, temperatures in Larnaca are moderate and often reach 20 degrees or higher at daytime. In general, I really enjoyed my time in Larnaca, even though it was low season. Actually, it was my first visit to Cyprus and I instantly fell in love with the country. The food is great and inexpensive, but also most of the people are super nice and the island is packed with culture and stunning landscapes. Although Larnaca is not as active as Napa, I still enjoy the sunny days in the middle of winter to the fullest. In fact, there are very few places in Europe where winter is as absent as in Cyprus, even though, geographically speaking, the island belongs to Asia. But what I actually wanted to say was that the temperatures were amazing and I even went swimming. However, this might have been another one of my rather stupid ideas, which get more frequent as I get older somehow, but as it turns out, it was not cold at all in the gate, but probably due to swimming in the cold water the day before, my body temperature started to rise above its normal, while I was freezing and feeling absolutely miserable. Nevertheless, it's time for boarding and I'm trying to look forward for this flight. Today's journey will be operated on the Bombardier CSeries, or Airbus A220 as the young kids call it nowadays. The A220 is one out of 2 aircraft types in the fleet of Cyprus Airways, with the other one being the A320. Our 1-year-old ride to Zurich carries the registration 5B DEA and was originally intended for Air Senegal. They, however, did not want it anymore after engine problems with the A220, so, alongside its sister, this plane ended up with Cyprus Airways. It would be a big red flag if such a young plane looked bad already. But from the first impression, the cabin definitely deserves more than 2 stars, especially for European standards. Just from the looks, in my opinion, 4 or 5 stars would be well deserved. The same goes for the seat, which doesn't disappoint. In my opinion, if there was a couple of centimeters more legroom and an in-flight entertainment system, This could easily go through as premium economy. So my first, and by the way unsponsored opinion, is that the cabin doesn't look too bad at all. However, the same thing cannot be said for myself, as I was absolutely miserable at the time. I felt like it was brutally cold in the cabin, and at that point I only wanted to be in bed. Recording a video while traveling can be exhausting already, however if you're sick it's a whole new level. But I have taken an oath to go the extra mile for you guys, and luckily I also have a little helper.
Η απογείωση μας σήμερα θα γίνει με βορειοανατολική κατεύθυνση, αμέσως μετά με αριστερή στροφή πάνω
Due
από
to
τη
ATC
Larnaca,
restrictions in
θα περάσουμε
Zurich,
προς τον Agama.
unfortunately it is not possible to take off and our flight will be delayed for 25 minutes. For us, however, that means that we have enough time to have a closer look at the seat. The first thing that catches my eye is the sleek design and the adjustable headrest. Like the rock on the ground, the seats are kept in different shades of brown or olive green. This adds an upscale look to the cabin and fits in very well with the Mediterranean design that the airline carries. At the seat in front of us, we get a regular USB and the USB-C port, as well as this thing where you can attach your personal device. Since there is no Wi-Fi, you however can't stream and have to download your content in advance. With 76 cm, the legroom is standard, but enough for the short and medium haul flights Cyprus Airways offers. Lastly, we have an onboard menu for paid snacks and beverages, since food is not included. A complimentary meal on a 4-hour flight would certainly not be wrong, but this is Europe after all. The ticket was quite cheap and the prices on the menu are acceptable. Next to the menu and the safety card we get an in-flight magazine called Breeze, which features some stories I was too sick to read, and I rather looked at this creepy looking coat hook until finally ATC clearance in Zurich was given and we pushed back.
Σε ορθή θέση. Χερούλι να είναι κατεβασμένο και το καλυβατοπαρατήριο σας πρέπει να είναι ανοιχτό. Οι ζώνες σας πρέπει να είναι σφιχτά δεμένοι. In business class are kindly requested to store away their footrest.
The takeoff was stunning and I got plenty of that much needed sun. However, I started feeling worse by the minute. So I decided to head over to the lavatory, hop into something more warm and comfortable, and lie down in one of the many empty seat rows on this flight. Unsurprisingly, the lavatory looks as sleek as the rest of the cabin. It is spotless, featuring a big mirror with integrated lights, an olive brown colored plastic paneling and even a window. But actually I don't really feel like admiring its design, as I just want to sleep. I did exactly that, but luckily Patchery kept recording. Sometimes, after I'm already deeply immersed in my fever dreams, the crew starts to hand out free coffee. On this flight I didn't have any interactions with the crew, but while I was among the living, I didn't see anything wrong with their behavior. I know it's always difficult to judge an airline based on a single flight, and I know there certainly are people who have had bad experiences with Cyprus Airways. If that is the case for you, please feel free to share in the comments what happened. But based on my experience, Cyprus Airways is nowhere as bad as I had thought based on the reviews. The plane looked fantastic, the fare was low, and the baggage policy is better than on almost all other European airlines. The small delay wasn't the fault of the airline, and the only downsides were the check-in experience and the lack of a complimentary snack. Just coming from 20 degrees and then arriving in this kind of weather makes me more sick, both physically and mentally. Having touched down, we taxi from runway 14 in the northeast of the airport all the way down to a remote gate located in the southwest, which takes quite some time.
Dear passengers, welcome to Zurich Airport. Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the seatbelt signs have been switched on. Before leaving the aircraft, please make sure that you collect all your personal belongings and use caution when opening the overhead lockers, since these items might fall out. The ground staff will be happy to assist you. There will be any inquiries.
Finally arrived, I'm just looking forward to getting home. We take a bus to the B gates, from which there is an underground passage, over to the passport control. But for today that was it. In the meantime, feel free to check out my Ryanair review. Please subscribe and hit the bell so you won't miss anything. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next week.
Dear passengers, welcome to Zurich Airport.